being a responsible member of the community, we want to do everything that we can to reduce our use of resources and try and become more and more sustainable. I mean, we have a long-term goal of being 100% sustainable.
There's no one solution that's going to be the thing that gets us over the finish line. We actually need a whole bundle of solutions. I think this is an exciting project because it just represents one more tool that we didn't have before, that we now do, that's going to help us get to those net zero emissions.
It's just a home run project. It's good economically, it's great for the environment, it's better for our staff, it's better for our beer. I mean, why wouldn't you want to carbonate your beer with beer CO2, right? I mean, it just makes sense. So this is by far the largest investment we've made in our sustainability practice.
Big component of beer is we're extracting sugar out of grain, and then we're adding yeast to consume that sugar, and a major byproduct of that process is CO2 output. So throughout all of our active fermentation, we're getting a lot of CO2 that's being blown out of the tank.
You're gonna see the bucket on the ground with water in it, and it's just bubbling like crazy, right? What's bubbling up is CO2. What we did with the system is that we bought all of this tubing and all these connection points so that when now that's happening, we're connecting right into a hose that now leads back up to the ceiling and travels over to our CO2 recapture system. So then that machine processes the CO2 coming out of the tank. Rather than the tank just sitting there on the ground bubbling, we're sending it right back into the machine to repurpose it.
One of the things we know that Iowa City residents are really excited about and really great at is recycling. And of course we understand recycling for paper and aluminum and glass, but this really represents a kind of recycling that we don't often think about. You know, the kind of carbon dioxide that's coming off the brewing process that could be captured and then used for other things. So really, when you think about it, it's actually an exciting extension of our recycling efforts.
I mean, CO2 recapture is kind of low-hanging fruit, if you will, as far as when you look at the brewing process, it's fairly obvious. You see you're having these fermentations that are taking place every day. You get so much CO2 that's being vented out of tanks, and then you turn around and downstream, kind of post-fermentation, we're buying a bunch of industrial CO2 to finish the process, to carbonate the beer, to move it from tank to tank, to put it in a package. And so, you know, Earthly Labs has scaled down the technology for a smaller brewery like us to recapture that fermentation CO2.
It's all happening in the building, and it's a product that we need everlasting. We move all of our product around with CO2, we fill cans with CO2. I mean, just think of like it's a non-stop thing. And this machine, instead of us just evacuating that into the air or sending it off in the atmosphere, now we're gonna capture, clean, condense, and put back to use.
The big way it ends up cutting down on emissions is that this carbon dioxide that had been previously used has been shipped in from the central Illinois region, right? And that comes on heavy trucks that use a lot of diesel fuel transporting it here. And those shipments come twice a week. Now, twice a week, those trucks aren't going to be driving all that distance. That really cuts down on the transportation emissions associated with this production process.
As I started to learn about the technology and got the chance to talk about it with my fellow employees, everybody was so excited that we could go from, you know, buying bulk CO2 from industrial sources to, you know, reducing our carbon footprint by as much as 100,000 pounds and using a byproduct of our fermentation as an ingredient. It fit together so well, and we're really excited to pursue it.
So I talk about the loop, but it's really that simple. It comes out of the beer tank while we're in active fermentation, gets processed by the machine. The machine then kicks it into a storage tank, and then from the storage tank we put it right back into the system. So it's pretty incredible.
We are always looking for these kinds of opportunities that whenever a business or a resident or a nonprofit has an exciting idea, something they're excited about that they think might work to bring down emissions, like, we are always open to having that conversation and looking for ways we can partner on it. You know, we don't know what the next carbon recycling system is that's out there, but maybe someone listening to this video does, and if so, reach out to us. We want to talk about it. We're all in this together.
It's really easy to say you want to be a leader. It's another thing to put money behind it and resources and people behind it. That's what the city's doing right now. I think we should all be proud. We should all celebrate what Iowa City's doing, and hopefully more communities take notice and start putting these type of programs in place for their communities, because we couldn't have done this without the assistance from the city, because it's an expensive endeavor. So we're very thankful.